Good evening, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
Please remove your hats if you're able to. Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to roll call.
Mayor Villarreal,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Soria,
Here.
Councilmember Nave,
Here.
Councilmember Flores,
Here.
Councilmember Sanchez is absent. We have one.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to move into closed session and we shall return. Good evening, we're back from closed session, we have nothing to report at this time. We're gonna move on to seven, the approval of the agenda, do I have a motion?
I second.
A motion from Tori, a second from me, all in favor? Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Moving on to council report. You need to start.
Welcome everybody, thank you for attending. It's been a busy start to the summer. We've had, the skimmer program has had their first home last Thursday. It was great, we hosted Big Garden and Wood Lake. They really enjoyed the pool, they love the facility, and we'll have another home meet this Thursday. And then the following Tuesday will be our last home meet against Lemoore. And it'll probably be a big turnout. We have a large team this year, 90 kids. Almost double from what we had last year. It was great. I also attended the TCR PA meeting in Visalia. It was nice to see some of my colleagues there. Thank you, Mayor, for inviting me. They did speak about our proposal, and so they're happy that we're moving forward. They want us to move faster. And they also went over the transition in their vendor that they're using to provide transit. It's going from the Transdev to VIA. So they got a good system. It was a great presentation about the transition, how they're gonna be more effective, more efficient, more engaged. We're gonna have more accountability to the transit here in our county. So I'm looking forward to that. I see their vans all the time. It looks like it says Dropout on the side of them, but it's not. They're transitioning the branding, so it doesn't say that anymore. But it was a great meeting, and I also was able to pop my head into the recreation info session on what's it, Monday? On Monday? Wednesday. Last Wednesday, so it was great. I got to put up a whole bunch of stickers. I sent a whole bunch of skimmer parents over too. So it was really engaging. It was nice to see the possibilities here in our wonderful town. So thank you to the Parks and Recreation crew for setting that up. I know they have a couple more, but this week and next week? Tomorrow. And so I'm looking forward to that. People are looking forward to the survey that we're gonna be able to hand out online. So I look forward to that. I'm excited for today's meeting. And I'm looking forward to everybody seeing everybody at the Swimmers meet on Tuesday or next, Thursday or next Tuesday.
Thank you for, and
Hey, good afternoon, guys. So, we took our girls to the pool this past weekend, or 2 weeks ago. And there was a lot of people for public swim. It's really neat to see all the kids out there and the families. I was tired of just watching them, so I don't know how those kids do it, because I just sat in the chair and I was like, out of breath. I was trying to hold my breath as they were in the water. So it's a really neat place to be if you guys have little kids. Even as adults, just go cool off. I did attend the TCAG meeting, for the mayor. There was a lot of similar things to what, Mayor Pro Tem Soria said. They talked about, rebranding, right, to Larry County. They also talked about, the State Route 65 Lindsay roundabout. I think, Kyla will have a little bit more about that. And they talked about tourism. They said that tourism is the 5th highest, if it was like on the list of, oranges and olives and, our agriculture, tourism would be 5th. So it made me think, like, how do we get more people into Lindsay? So it just kind of got my, my brain moving, and I'm just trying to think of other ways to get people into our little city. So we'll work on that. I just want to thank Marshall. I saw him earlier. Where's he at? Marshall, him and his guys, I've seen them, they've been working out, painting the new crosswalks. And there was a little issue that I called Marshall about, and they were on it immediately. So I just want to thank you, Marshall, and your guys. I appreciate you guys so much, and especially working outside of this heat. So thank you so much. That's it.
thank you.
Yeah, I just wanna thank, Mr. Clagle. I don't think he's here, but, last meeting, he offered a really good suggestion on how we could, maintain our financial status in good standing. And it's wonderful when instead of complaining, we find solutions within our own community, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you. And at this time, I want to just thank you guys for, showing up and backing me up at the TCAG and TCRTA meetings that I attend every month, and you guys have to attend me. I appreciate that. I don't have anything to report, but just meeting with a lot of people from the community just regarding different issues. And just to let you guys know, my door is open. You guys can text me, contact me, not on Facebook, but they do. I don't answer it as frequently on Facebook, but, I know we do have a guest party coming up this Friday at the Wellness Center. It's really cool. Kids love it. So if you want to take your kids out there, get out of the seat. It's Friday at 6. Did I get that right? It's a family one. Yeah, it's super cool. But that's all I have to report. And, but welcome everybody. Moving on to public comment. Members of the public may address the city council on matters within the jurisdiction of the city of Lindsay. Persons wishing to address the council concerning an item or on the agenda will be invited to address the council during that time. That council is considering that agenda item. Persons wishing to address the council concerning issues not on the agenda will be invited to address the council during public comment portion of the meeting. When invited by the mayor to speak, please step up to the lectern, state your name, city of residence, and make your comments. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. So at this time, we're taking public comment.
Se invita al público a comentar sobre cualquier tema bajo la jurisdicción del Ayuntamiento de Lindsay. Tenga en cuenta que quienes deseen comentar sobre un punto regular o una audiencia pública de la agenda de esta noche tendrán la oportunidad de hacerlo cuando la alcaldesa solicite comentarios públicos sobre el punto. El tiempo de comentarios se limitará a 3 minutos por persona, con un total de 30 minutos para el periodo de comentarios, a menos que la alcaldesa indique lo contrario. Por favor, digan su nombre y los fines.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Dr. Henry DeRoa, I live in Lindsay. Today I come representing myself as a resident, but also as a member of the Peter Lotus Worthwhile Foundation. I want to begin by thanking you folks, first of all, for investing in Cactus Park. And if any of you have been to or driven by during its opening, you've noticed that there's a lot of people that use it. There have been quite a few people, both. It's very, very nice to see couples chatting together, elderly people walking their dog, people hauling barbecue pits over to cook and what have you. And I know the city is very busy. I know you guys are busy, but today I took a walk through the park. And somebody has forgotten to mow the lawn in quite a while. So and I know you want to know this because I know you wanted to reflect your leadership. So it needs to be not posted, we need to have some regularity when it actually gets taken care of. Mow the lawn, fix the sprinklers. And I've had conversations with Mondo about that there's plans to put valves and plans to do this, but the reality is, in the interim, it's not being tended to. I took an extensive walk through it, and there's weeds going everywhere, and it's just not cared for. In addition to that, for those of you that are Mexican or Mexican American background, we know that if you build a park, that we will come. And one of the things that we will do at the park is we will have barbecues. And I've had this discussion both with Kyler and I've had it with Armando about the possibility of putting barbecue pits at the locations. I'm told that those barbecue kits are now $7,000, which somebody's taking us for a ride, that's what we're gonna pay for them. But instead of, unless they have to look like the ones that are at the beautiful Olive Bowl, we could ask our civic organizations to contribute, buy one for one of the tables. You know, it just seems kind of awkward, at least, if not kind of unfriendly at most. If we have to haul a barbecue, get it off the pickup, roll it on out to be able to have a family barbecue. So I'm bringing it to your attention because I know in your leadership, you want to do the right thing. As you have frequently said, I want to reach out to the community, I want to do things. Here's what we can do tomorrow. Mow the lawn, trim the trees, trim the bushes, so that people have a pleasant place to go and spend some time. All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more public comment?
Anita Justice and Lindsay. Lindsay resident. I forgot my reading glasses, so you guys are gonna have to. Sorry.
You look cool, Anita.
I
So it's
don't
all right.
think you- Yeah, indoors.
Okay.
Okay, I did wanna talk about, I believe that most, if not all, city council is aware that our city manager is a consultant with, Calgia Environmental and here in Fresno. I'm here to say that I was not aware of that, so that means there was no transparency. That fact does not appear in his current contract, under my understanding. So if the city manager remains as a consultant, I feel that the Lindsay residents should be aware of that. And, also, it should appear, I think, in his contract with guidelines, like what are city business hours? And, also some expectations for a person who's representing the city of Lindsay. And then, you know, he would need to exclude himself for any conflict of interest, of course. So really, I'd like to ask that he does not remain employed as a consultant, and I would like for him to remain focused on attracting more businesses in city of Lindsay. Considering Lindsay's things past, I think we all deserve transparency. With that said, I do have a couple of items for 12.7. And kind of asking if we could grow the list of regional and state agencies that we connect with. And that was section 8. In section 9, the list includes code enforcement. And I was wondering, are we in a better position to add more enforcement for the department, code enforcement department? And then this is on 13.1. I don't know if there's a comment for that, but on the award contract, I would like to see the bid result in the staff report, if that's possible. And then on the action items, I have a couple of questions there also. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any more public comment at this time? Okay, public comment is closed. Moving on to city manager report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's been a few meetings. East Korea GSA had a technical advisory committee since our last meeting. TCRTA also had a technical advisory committee where we discussed the budget. This already was approved. There was a TCAG and TCRTA regular board meetings that were already mentioned. Bryant, there's an upcoming monthly meeting this Thursday, as well as tomorrow, there's a Tulare County Economic Development Corporation board meeting as well. It was mentioned about roundabouts. We continue to engage, and I think in Dario's presentation, he was going to cover some of those things, but we've been making some good progress on cost sharing and on some of the design work for that. So it's a lot of those decisions are getting more finalized, and at our last meeting that we had with them, we asked that they be prepared once the designs are a little more concrete, that they come before the council and give another update. It's been a while since they've given an update. It's been about a year. And so considering that they're planning on going into construction and a little over a year from now, that it's probably time to show some of the images of what that's going to look like. I do think if we didn't get it in the packet, I think we do have one of the images that somebody snipped, even though they didn't provide it from us directly. So with that, the only other thing is that just due to schedules for July, there is a possibility that we may move the July meeting. So I think we're looking at the week prior to what's scheduled. It's currently scheduled for the 28th of July. So more than likely it'll probably be the 21st. So that third Tuesday, but we will finalize that in the next week, and then notice appropriately, so. That's all I have.
Thank you, guys. Moving on to 11 recognitions. This is presented by Chief Nate.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I'm here to introduce someone who probably doesn't need a whole lot of introduction. I think everybody already knows Adam, but I'm going to bring you a couple of fun facts about him, just for some reminders more than anything else. So Adam came to us in 2009. Okay, he is the last of the public safety officers who actually started in the fire service division and came over to the police side of things and stayed here. He's been integral in handling several challenges within the department. He started the department's drone program, most recently. Whatever you need done, Adam probably does it in some kind of form or fashion. He is fantastic for us in collecting and preserving digital evidence. But outside of his official duties, if you need things like, anything laser etched, he's your guy. Locks picked, also your guy. Smoked cheese, he does that too. Need an air conditioner or heating unit, you will handle that as well. There's not a lot that he doesn't know at least a little bit about. He's one of those guys that he's developed a wide range of skills that are beneficial to us, both at the department and in his off time as well. So that's not to mention his 2-time top 10 placements in the rib cook-off. Well, I know you guys I didn't even know if he cooked. Probably owes you something for that. So we're super excited to announce and recognize this promotion to the rank of sergeant. And we are confident he's going to bring some fresh perspective and enthusiasm, a few crazy ideas. He's already asked for a bidet in the wash commander's office. So we're figuring out what we can do with that and make those things happen. But without further ado, we'll have Madam Clerk issue the oath, and then just wife is going to turn this next. I'm going to do my best, as always, to stay out of it.
Raise your hand. I, Adam Mayor,
I, Adam Wilner,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the State
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well
that I will well
and faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties upon
the duties upon
which I am about to enter.
which I am about to.
Also forgot to mention, he's related to about 80% of the people in the audience. So.
Well, I wasn't prepared, but they always say always be prepared. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to thank my mom and dad for helping the Trump club. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I'd be walking up. Who would have thought that when I started here as a second responder, a fireman, that I would one day be promoted as sergeant on the police side. Over the years, Lindsay has become the second home. I want to thank my wife and children for their understanding, patience, and support through the missed holidays, family gatherings, birthdays, and often sleepless schedule. Your sacrifices, support have made this moment possible, and I'm forever grateful. I also want to thank my friends, coworkers, and everyone who came out tonight. Seeing all of you here means a lot to me, and truly appreciate the support throughout the years. A wise man once said, Adam, I'd like to offer you this position as sergeant. So I want to sincerely thank you for doing that, to promote and to do growing this work. I appreciate everyone who has helped me along the way. I'm excited for this next chapter, and I look forward to continuing to serve the city because you guys are stuck with me.
Thank you. Remember we had a conversation saying you wanted, you were gonna leave. You checked now. Yes. We don't have money for the today, you have the official baby. Well, thank you, Adam, and thank you everything you do for Lindsay and keeping our city safe. So moving on to the consent calendar. Routine items approved in one motion unless the item is pulled for discussion. There will be no separate discussion of these matters unless the request is made. In which event the item will be removed from the consent calendar to be discussed and voted on a separate motion. We have a motion for the consent calendar?
I'm motioning the consent calendar.
I second.
I have a motion from Claudia, a second from me, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Moving on to 13, the department head report, city services, sorry, you do it, Ari? I don't think you hear me from the third, you might just brother on some of the-
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Tonight we have a few updates. We do that include, updates on capital improvement projects, operations and maintenance, some of the funding opportunities that we've tackled, and on community development. One of the priorities, in our to-do list is this project, the paving project that's going along really well. We went out for bid in late May. Had a bid opening just about a week and a half ago. We are hopefully awarding the project tonight. We actually already projected our next pre-construction meeting for next Tuesday, if everything goes well tonight. We should be starting construction the last week or first week of July, that's the latest. With the complete construction, hopefully by the time, hopefully before school starts. So we'll be pushing. The roundabout, we've, kind of said, we've had a series of meetings where it's pretty detailed dialogue. Now we're hoping that, yeah, last time that I was here, we were at 30%, we're at 60% now. We're getting there. We should be in the next couple of months or so with hopefully 95% coming to you guys late fall. And with that, hopefully Calvin is able to come give you guys a detailed update with the engineering folks and landscape design folks, and hopefully you guys are more aware of, you know, where things are at. We're also, by that time, we should be also entering some sort of agreements for land acquisition, lighting, landscape. The total project cost is approximately 25 million. Within our community facilities district formation, we if you guys recall, we actually approved the resolution of intent at the last council meeting. We will be sending a notice to a public hearing to the property owners in the next week or so. The first public hearing will be held as we introduce the ordinance next council meeting to the 28th. And then finally, the second reading of the ordinance will be where the ordinance becomes effective on the August 25 meeting. Transit Center, we're moving along. I wish we could go further into design, but we, recently just issued a contract amendment so that we can get the consultant moving forward. We had a project update at the last council meeting. So 60% is underway and hopefully to complete it early fall. Showed you that before. We showed you the expansion at the last meeting.
And moving on to well 11, rehabilitation project, they went out for bid on the late April. We had a pre-bidding meeting, at the site, April 19th. As of now, we had, 92 requests for information, those are RFIs. Those are essentially contractors just letting them know, just a bunch of technical, and questions that before they submit the actual bid. That's a very lengthy, addendum that we issued. Actually, we're on the third amendment that was issued the past couple of days. So, and that's why it's taking a while. Our engineers are having a hard time keeping up with all that, so. And we're hoping that, the bid opening will be next Tuesday, and then we can award the project July 2018. And hopefully start construction soon after that. So as soon as August. There it is. Operation and maintenance, guys are keeping really busy with the most recent, just striking across lots and stops. But, for the second quarter, we had, close to 250 sewer inspections, almost a dozen water leak repairs, almost a dozen water meter replacements. We painted a bunch of red curves, over 50,000 square feet of pothole patching, almost 50 utility service requests. Of course, over 3,000 monthly meter readings. We have some very good ideas on the filter. The water main replacement project, successfully completed the grant, earlier this year, right before I did an update. But it includes 1,000 linear feet of pipeline, citywide. We applied for 1.75 million to EPA, EPA's community grant that will cover some of the design and portion of construction. Well, we actually submitted before the April 4th deadline, but we received great news, just this last couple of weeks. The notification of the grant award for $1.75 million. So that was great news. As soon as we received that, we started working on, requesting reimbursements for all the work we've done up to this point. There's a map, both from the red areas and the blue areas. Those are essentially the old pipes that need to be replaced or upsized. Sorry, to interrupt you. That's the county island, correct? That's the county island, the pipeline?
Yeah.
It's incorrect, so we're servicing.
There are some, we're at.
Yeah, a vast majority of this work is gonna be, for that 1.75 million and page more.
Not Lindero.
I'm not aware of that, neighborhood.
At the water treatment plant, essentially we have this disinfectant byproduct mitigation project that's been going on for quite a bit. As of last month or so, we were at 60% design. We have this bi-weekly meetings, and we're actually, hopefully by the end of this week, first week of July, have 90% design complete. Aiming to have this project design completed by late fall, early fall, late summer, early fall. And then essentially we'll get the project, we'll start construction later in the fall. At the same time, we're being in compliance with the water board stuff. The ATP, the Active Transportation Plan, we are focusing on the Hermosa Corridor Active Transportation Improvement Project. That's Hermosa between Highway 65 and Sweetbriar. The engineer's estimate came at $5 million. So it's intended to improve pedestrian and bicycle safety, accessibility, and connectivity. It includes protected bicycle facilities, pedestrian crossing improvements, ADA accessibility improvements, sidewalk replacements, siding and striping. You guys, council approved resolution authorizing grant submittal last council meeting. The grant was due yesterday, we submitted on time, so it's another great opportunity for success. It's a $5 million project, so.
So a few years ago, we had a couple of gentlemen that were doing like a study and they went to like the farmer's market and they went to the Orange Blossom and they were doing something for that. Are we using the same design that they came up with? Cause they wanted to make the bike lanes on Formosa and make it a two-way instead of I don't know, are we using that?
So yeah, so I'm not sure if we're talking about the same program. If it, yeah, so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's getting to a lot of, I believe they're past one, bike lanes, over construction, so, a lot of signage, lighting, a lot of landscapes. So, it's gonna, beautify that area for sure.
I just wanted to make sure because I didn't want to start that process all over again and delay it when we already did it several
Yeah,
years
and
ago.
so, yeah, this project specific comes from T-TAG, they're active.
Yeah,
So,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Developments, I wanted to provide just the layout of where they all, having a hard time, seeing it, but as you guys know, O'Hara is the one that's in actual construction as we speak, the other one were in some sort of, entitlement process. Like it's, so yeah, you know, it's a 50-unit subdivision, we approved tentative subdivision, we'll just wait for them to submit their final map. O'Hara, obviously construction, phase 1, 48 units, and it's pending the final approval.
Do you know how many is gonna be second phase, how many units?
You know,
About 40.
40 more?
The first phase 48 and the second one is about 40.
and yeah, and mission stage, we're a little bit off, we're really trying to get them in here, so we're just essentially just pending on their, the middle of the improvement funds to get that moving forward. Zone states, still the tentative, subdivision map boundary review. And Palm Terrace, I've seen some back and forth, we can go back and forth with their extension paving, plan path approval. And next, want to give you guys a little teaser, this is tentative, we're still, this is a roundabout, we're still looking into, other things, we're missing obviously the medians and the landscape on the side, but we're trying really hard to make it as beautiful as possible for the city. If it's gonna be a one-time deal, 20, 30 years, we wanna make sure that, we go down, probably captions until they give up.
I like that idea.
Will there be ability, I know this might, intrude on some of the beauty, but like we do in the other roundabouts, there will be an opportunity to like have some signage for special events, something like that, or would that not be possible enough?
The area is so tight in there, and that aspect's on the way, but, there's other opportunities in Billboard.
Yeah, I think, those would probably keep to the corner, at the intersection on the two corners that we have and do those type of signs there. I think in here will be a little difficult, just because they're also, it's not included in there, but Caltrans is gonna have to have directional signs on the lower level. So one of the things that they talked about was even possibly raising the wall so it's higher so that it doesn't interfere with the Lindsay sign. This is facing, west. So this would be, if you're going onto the highway from Tulare, this is what you'd be looking at. There's also a Lindsay sign on the opposite side, so as you're coming east, as well, and we're planning on having uplights, so it's lit in the evening. There will obviously be highway lights and other things on the periphery, but so we've been, as Darla said, we've been going back and forth with Caltrans quite a bit to make sure we get what we want and that we're not going to pay for it, so.
Even better.
Yes.
And so that portion of Tulare where you make that right turn, will that just be, annexed into whatever property, or will it still be there?
If we go with the first slide, maybe go all the way back. Yeah, so you'll come on directly, so you won't do that loop. Oak Avenue will have its own entrance separately, and then Tulare will as well. So you can't, in order to get to Oak from Tulare, you'll have to go onto the roundabout and then go out. That'll be cut off at that.
People are gonna be confused at this.
Yes, they will.
I call it.
They'll be going slow though.
They won't crash
They'll be
into.
going slow.
They're gonna be taking pictures.
And that should do it for my presentation, and you guys have any questions?
Thank you, Dario.
Yeah, we're just excited that there's a lot of projects that move forward, and the ones that come, so. Thank you.
Darian?
Yeah.
I had requested a breakdown on the logging and landscaping for existing neighborhoods. I know they've come in here many times that it's too expensive. And I requested that breakdown. Do you have it? I
So
requested it last, city
this is
council
not
meeting.
part of the,
It's not part of this, it's of existing
Okay.
neighborhoods.
It'll, 15.3 will go over that.
You want,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, there's, and,
all right, thank you.
go ahead. I just wanna, thank staff. There's been a ton of work going on in city services. There's a lot of different projects. I mean, obviously, Olive Bowl was a huge undertaking as well. There were a lot of projects that were kind of sitting. And so there's a lot going on right now. I mean, the EPA grant, the 1.75 million, that was awarded, somewhat informally, but awarded about 3 years ago. You know, the work as far as on the road projects, that had some delays. And so we've been expediting that, the transit center design. That was, you know, we talked about we were awarded the funds for the transit center at the same time Farmersville was awarded for their funds. Farmersville's transit center has been up and running for several years. There haven't been a whole lot of activity, but I think they're having a lot of activity now that the senior center is located there. So, you know, there's been things, and to Councilmember Nate's point, even the ATP grant, you know, utilizing a study that was already created, was already done, and trying to take advantage of the most recent funding cycle and get that in. As you know, as I've harped on in the past, we don't have a whole lot of shovel-ready projects, so just utilizing what we already have and trying to take as much advantage of the funding opportunities. That's, you know, even with well 11, there was some delays as far as getting that. So, but we're moving now, and there's a lot going on. Sorry, I'm just kidding.
I do have a quick question, because this is something that was brought up to me, and I just want to make sure I got it correctly, that now all the streets are gonna have, ADA accessibility for the new improvements that we're doing, right? I know that was part of.
On the Westwood area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, there isn't any, right, there's some that have like some.
Yes, as part of the street projects that we're doing, the repavement, yes, that there will be
They don't believe me, I just wanna make sure that people working on it. How do you know? But I just wanna make sure and reiterate that we are applying with those, and that's gonna improve
I think you have to.
walkability. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a new curb ramp that's accessible, and then redoing any sidewalk that's compliant, like on Westwood's gonna stay, anything that's not gonna be repaired, anything from that Central, Kern, will have new sidewalks, new curb ramps, curb and gutter, Eastwood, north of Kern, and then try to get both then Samoa or, Ashland, across the street from, go to Doug DeLeo's, Ashland, and then turn and hit Samoa anyways. So it's a big.
I know. The monthly meetings, I know that we had a stumble, so I just wanna make sure that, I think, you know, the staff for being proactive, you know, that's the lifeblood of our system, so we gotta make sure that we continue to do the best that we can, so that number is a lot bigger from what I recall last year when we had a similar presentation, so thank you for pushing the staff, and telling them that I'm very grateful, the staff is doing a great job, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to 14, the public hearing, where you 14.1, the adoption of updated master fee schedule. And this is presented by Tyler Crawford.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is an annual, update to our fee schedules. We came to you last year around the same time, updating a lot more fees, mainly on the city services side. This year, because we cleaned up quite a bit, there's not nearly as many, but there are, just to highlight some of the new fees that we're asking for. Credit card companies, as we take electronic payments, it's not unusual that they charge us, and so we don't get full dollar amount, for payments, when we accept credit cards. So we are, seeking to have, two new fees associated with that, but if anybody's paying any type of bill, those are two of that, and it's outlined there so that we're not gouging anybody as far as what the parameters are. We also have, we've heard and we want to grow our membership at the Wellness Center. So, we are proposing to have, some new membership types for any Lindsay Unified employees and or learners as well. So it's a slight discount. There's still a dollar amount, but it's $15 a month that we're proposing, but just trying to make sure that the facility is utilized and that it's a great tool for one of our largest employers and a good community partner. We've also instituted, because we've heard from folks as well as from council about a family membership program for the Wellness Center. So that's in there as well. So $80 up to 4 family members, and any additional will be an additional $20. So also a discount from what if everyone had to pay individually for their membership. We've had some interest on people and groups, clubs just wanting to use pickleball. So there's a special pickleball rate if they just want to utilize the 2 courts. We also have some, a lot of the other rates are related to the Olive Bowl. So obviously we didn't have the Olive Bowl last year, so those all need to be new as far as concession stands, prep, rentals. People want lights if they want to do an evening event. There's various costs that are listed in there. And then lastly, we do have some updates to city services, some of our building permits that we have in there. Just trying to incorporate things that we didn't think of last year, and or some of the costs have gone up, and so I'm looking at those. So with that, I'd ask that you open the public hearing and consider this vote.
At this time, the public hearing is open. Any public comment for 14.1? The time is closed. And then, do I have a motion to approve 14.1?
The motion to approve 14.1, adoption of the updated master.
Second. I have a motion from Sylvia, a second from Nate, all in favor? Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Moving on to 14.2, the vacancy and recruitment retention efforts, and this is submitted by Miranda, represented by Kyler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a relatively new law that all public agencies have to report out our vacancy, recruitment, retention rates. It's an annual report, so I expect to see this every year around this time of the year. So this is in compliance with the law. This is what we have. We currently have 2 vacancies in our LPOA, our Police Officers Association. Again, because of some of the promotions, this was why we have some of these things as a time of reporting this out. And then we also have one in SEIU. We have a vacancy that we're looking to fill in city services with Carmen, our longtime employee and former city clerk. She retired fairly recently, a month ago, and so that's the vacancy that we're looking to fill there. So with that, those are our 3 vacancies currently that we're all actively in some process of filling those. You can also see the allocations that we have. This is full-time employees, so we do have quite a few part-time, primarily with our lifeguards, but that's not needed to report for those. I'll take any questions and open the public hearing. And
Do you have any questions? I'll open this up to the public. Moving you come with 14.2. And 14.2 is closed. Moving on to 14. Oh, no, do I have a motion for 14.2?
Motion to approve 14.2, thanks to improvement retention efforts.
I second.
A motion from Claudia, second from me, all in favor? Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Moving on to 14.3, fiscal year 2026 and 2027 city budget and the CIP budget. And this is submitted by Solar Lab. Yes. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Okay, the presentation is gonna be loading here shortly, but I am happy to report that we were very successful and were able to do quite a bit of adjustments and cuts in order to be able to have a balanced budget in every single one of our funds. It was hard, but we managed to do it. The presentation has loaded, and I'll go ahead and go through the presentation. And so for our agenda, we have the budget and department highlights. We'll review the fiscal year 26-27 budget major funds. We'll look at the CIP maintenance projects, and we'll look at what we need to look towards for the future. For our budget highlights, one of the biggest things, like I said, is that we do have a balanced budget for fiscal year 27. The fiscal year budget for 27 also includes new software for the finance department. We've been working at this for a long time, probably since I got here in like August. We have a ton of modules, and I think most of them should be going live by next week, with the exception of like one. So it's been a lot of work, but we're getting there. With the new software, we were able to go down from over 6,000 accounts to just over 2,000. So that will really make our life easier in the finance department. And every department has they code expenditures. Our expenses and service supplies, when we go through the budget, you'll be able to see that a lot of them were combined so that we don't have so many expenditure accounts. We used to have over 100. Now we're gonna have like 32 accounts. So we used to have like 2 different names for the exact same account. You know, it'd be like travel and training and meetings and something else. They're both the same. I don't see the difference. So we were able to combine some of those accounts. We also did include quite a bit of money for our audit for 25 and 26 audits, which will be starting here in the next month. We are implementing the overhead cost allocation study for the full 12 months. Last year, we started an overhead allocation in the middle of October when the last budget was approved. This year, it's implementing the study that we did complete, and it's for the full 12 months. And then we also did include training for employees. It was one of the areas that the city just had not been investing in employee training, and so that's a big part now. Because we did have to have a balanced budget, most of our departments are not getting to have fun. They're going to have what they need. So some of these slides are kind of boring. One of the items that the city manager does have is a lobbyist, and we do have employee appreciation in the budget. Aside from that, there's really nothing fun. It's just operating expenditures for the city manager. In public safety, we also had to do quite a bit of moving money to our expenses to future years and getting rid of some expenditures that were allocated in there. So we are going to be maintaining our staffing levels, which are outlined here. We have the chief, a couple of lieutenants, 4 sergeants, 10 police officers, 3 fire lieutenants, 1 community service officer, and 3 support staff. We wanted to purchase additional vehicles, but we did have to go down and only allocate for 1 new vehicle because of our funding sources, that we just don't have enough funds to get more than 1 vehicle. For city services, just did their presentation. They do have quite a bit of projects coming up. They have the transit center, they have well 11, they have the street rehabilitation project. Most of those are grant funded. Aside from that, their staffing levels are remaining the same. We are doing a reclassification. If you approve the job descriptions later on in, tonight, from the engineering tech to an associate engineer. And then we're changing the admin assistant to a permit tech. But the bodies will stay the same. Parks and Recreation, we also had to pull back some of our wish list on Parks and Recreation. We did keep the youth sports. We did keep the pool deck. We are reclassifying, some of our part-time positions from a recreation one to a recreation leader one, and we're establishing a recreation leader two. Aside from that, we also had to make sure that in order to have a balanced budget, because any money that the recreation department / wellness center doesn't bring in revenues, the general fund funds it. So in order to be able to have a balanced budget in the recreation department, the general fund is going to be sending $850,000 to be able to balance it. But they do have the $600,000, which is for the pool deck, but we also had to make up the difference because of the cost to operate. So, a lot of fun activities that were added, we had to pull back just to make sure we had a balanced budget. The finance department is a very expensive budget, but we do have to catch up on our audits. We have the new financial software that's going to make hopefully all of our lives a little bit better. And we are going to be doing all of our UV printing in-house now, and those are all gonna be going. We will print the bills here and we'll fold stuff without the machine and send them to our community so that there's not that lag from when we send it to a third party to print and then send them out. That will make it easier. There's also gonna be, a nicer full size 8.5 by 11 sheet. And then we're able to do like a newsletter that Kyler's very excited about.
July.
So
English and
Um,
Spanish.
we are looking forward to being able to do some of this in-house, but there is a cost of the financial software because the last time we had updated was in 2014. So our budget, here are the major funds. So the general fund revenue is just over $12 million. Our expenses are right in line with our revenues, and so we're barely going to have a positive balance of $543. We did have to cut like 2.8 million to get last week, because I was out one week, to get to 543. It was a lot of work, and it was really, really hard because it's, a lot of the things that we were like, we really need to do this and this and this and this. It's like, scratch that, cut this, move that to another year, move that to 2 years from now. That was the only way to get the general fund to out. So it was hard, but we managed. And so now we're gonna have to be really keeping track of how our revenues and expenditures look in order for us to make it work for fiscal year 27.
Does this include, I'm sorry, does this include like all the new housing and the taxes that we're gonna be collecting on them and?
It does. And so I met with our the city services director and 200,000 for the current fiscal year 26. And so then in order to make up a little bit of room, we've gone down 200,000 is the projection for this current fiscal year. We have to make up that money somehow. And so now you're looking at other revenues and trying to figure that out. And one of the hard parts in this next fiscal year is even if our revenues were to continue to stay level, our expenses aren't staying level, especially when it comes to our employee costs. So just off the bat, we're having to budget a 10% increase for 6 months for health insurance. We're looking at unfunded liability of 150,000 increase for the two classic plans. And so you're not even looking yet at the employees that have a step increase or the increased cost in our liability insurance, and you're already in the hole and you're trying to make make it up, and sales tax aren't helping us because of some of the big businesses that are no longer here. So it's tough. Parks and Recreation, we looked at their revenues. This does include their some of the money that we're transferring over to Parks and Recreation in order for them to balance. We gave them a little wiggle room of just over $7,000. The water department is over $18 million for their revenue. Over 15 million of that is going to be grants that we're gonna be receiving, but we are looking at about $83,000 in the positive. The sewer fund is 2.4 million in revenues, expenses just under the 2.4, so we're looking at about 96 in wiggle room or money that if we do get stay within our budget, then we're able to move it into reserves. Excuse me, the refuse fund is going to break even. And then we have roads and transit. So we have over $13 million that we're gonna spend in the transit center and in the roads rehabilitation project. All of it's not money that is generated by sales tax that would be used in the city for operating. That one, we have a little bit of wiggle room in case something, one of the projections doesn't come at the number that we have because we haven't opened up to bids. So we are looking at a balanced budget, and that's what hopefully you will approve. Our CIP maintenance projects, like I said, recreation has the pool deck, which is 600,000. That's coming from the general fund reserves. Public safety is going to have 145,000 in CIP. It's for one vehicle, it's animal control, temperature holding, and body cameras. And part of it is general fund, part of it is grants. The water fund has over 16 million. Over 15 million of that is grant money. The transit center, the 8.3 is all grant money. Sewer fund has a generator, that's grant money. And then we have the road rehabilitation and bike and pedestrian project, and that's various funding sources from Measure R, LTF, the highway users tax, and that's all either money that was allocated to us or that was grant funding and reserves. That has just been building up over the years in those specific funds. The general fund top revenue sources is our property tax, our sales tax, Measure O, and the utility users tax. And so when I pointed out that the sales tax had gone down, you could see under fiscal year 26, the projection is that it's going to be down to 1350. They had projected that at over 1.5 million at the beginning of the fiscal year, and then it had to be changed. We have a company that keeps an eye on our sales tax, and he gave us this news about 3 months ago. And so that was not a great meeting. So that's when we knew that we needed to start paying attention closer and trying to figure out what we were going to do in order to make up that money. Measure O, slightly improving, and then our utility users tax, slight improvement. And so these are our biggest funding sources for operating the city for the general fund. So it's really important that we just keep an eye on this and we try to figure out how to increase some of these revenues. This next slide is the general fund revenue to monitor. We used to get quite a bit in our retail cannabis tax, and it's quite low. Thank you. It's about a fourth of what we used to get just 5 years ago. So we need to see monitor it and see what is happening. The sales and use tax, I mean, we know why one of our big, retailers is no longer here. And so we did have to make an adjustment, and that's 200,000 is quite a bit of money for a city like us. And so looking forward, we want to be able to look at ways to increase our revenues. How are we going to invest in repairs and maintenance that we have been neglecting over the years? And what new sources of revenue can we try to bring into the city? And then Kyler is working on some of those, and then he's talking to us as directors. One of the attachments was the summary of our budget, which also, matches our budget book. I do apologize that on the budget book, we don't have page numbers. Our Adobe software didn't want to work Thursday afternoon, and we couldn't add page numbers, but if you need one with page numbers, I can get that for you tomorrow. And so all of these numbers, they're separate how much we're spending on salaries and benefits, and how much we are spending on services and supplies. And if one of the departments has capital improvements, it's listed out, so we know exactly what each department is spending, how their money is being spent by each department. Any questions?
No, but I appreciate you breaking that down and showing our community that we have a balanced budget, but we have no money. The hope is to get money.
Do we have any prospects for the Rite Aid thing?
We haven't not heard of any, unfortunately,
No
so,
BD? They went to Exeter?
yeah, we have not, as of right now, I'm not aware if there's any immediate prospects for the former career team. I did want to highlight, just for council and the public, our capital improvement plan for the next 5 years. I feel. So, one of the main thing I want to highlight is that, on the next 4 pages, we have, one planning, capital improvement project plan that's listed for $120,000 that we applied for through our community development block grant earlier in the year. So we are budgeting that we are going to receive that. If we don't receive that grant, that will, we will not fulfill that. So that's one of the things. You'll also notice, primarily that in 2028, there's a laundry list of different planning tools that we are behind in, that we need to update, that we need to get through. And that's a grand total, and these are estimates that we've worked with staff to come up with, but we're anticipating over $1.5 million. Obviously, next year, depending on how the budget situation is, some of those will probably get deferred further. But I just want to illustrate, in total, even in the subsequent years, 2 years from now, there's close to $500,000, and then followed by only a $250,000, 3 years out. So there's a lot of work on the planning side that needs to take place. But when push comes to shove, we have to prioritize what's truly an immediate need. So that's one thing, and then I just encourage you to look at the rest of the dollars too. Sure, wow, a little tight, but there's that's all right. So it's in the packet, but I also want to highlight that there's in FY 28, you're gonna see more projects that are in there and various things, and we have it broken down by the different project types, but there's gonna be additional things that were deferred. Here you can see general fund or enterprise fund. These are for general city facilities, not necessarily anything by enterprise fund, but just general fund in general. Council chamber upgrades, right? We've heard about, the audio has had challenges over the past year from time to time. we've redone carpeting and the rest of City Hall, but not in this chambers, you know, et cetera. So there's a lot of different things. But it's not necessarily a priority when we look at all the other things. Senior center re-roofing. We have a portion of funds to patch the roof at the senior center, but we don't have budgeted enough funds to completely redo it and do what would be appropriate. So that's on, hopefully for next year, and the list goes on and on. I won't go through all the different line items, but you can see it's almost $1 million worth of projects just in that area alone. I'd also highlight that, you know, we've talked a lot about general fund, but there's also, here's a, you know, this is on the, wellness center. You know, they've got quite a bit of funding needs as well, so there's over $800,000, next year, 1.5 subsequent, on and on. So there's, well, some of that's water. That's water. That's what, yeah, that's water. But even with the water fund, what we've noticed in looking at the water rate study is that the water rate study anticipated we would be generating more revenue than what's actually coming in. Same thing with sewer rates. And so, recognizing, we're not really sure why there was a gap, but, what's needed already, you know, just means that, again, more stuff gets deferred, in those projects. So there's a lot of needs there, and on and on and on. So I won't necessarily bore you, but there's, I think in total, there's $6 million, for next year and, in the CIP, and then, you know, another almost 4 million, the following year, and, over 16.5 million. So, and every year that things get deferred, the cost goes up. I defer to Dario, but Dario knows what the industry standard as far as cost for construction projects are, but I think if I remember correctly, we talked about 7% or so every year. That's what it approximately goes up. You know, it's a general rate. So I mean, it's not always the case. You know, luckily with some of our recent bids, I think we'll talk about in just a few moments, that been pleasantly surprised that there's some competition out there. So just want to highlight those things, and then outside of, yeah, I'm finished with that. Thank you. Outside of that, there's, we also talked about code enforcement. Unfortunately, we're not able to recommend that new position. I think as Soledad mentioned, we're not recommending any new positions. There are some classification changes that we are recommending, but those are not currently within our existing budget. I also highlighted in my message that in 1986, the city of Lindsay had more employees, full-time employees, than we do today. Wasn't a lot, but they had 55 employees, and we just stated we have less than that. So 40 years later, the city's you know, almost 50% larger, and we have more areas, we've got more rules, more regulations, and so we're having to you know, have those constraints. So you know, I don't want this to be completely a downer. There's definitely some bright spots. I mean, we've got some grants, we're doing a lot of good projects, there's gonna be a lot of stuff, but there's also the reality that there's a lot of other things that we'd like to get to, but we just don't have the resources to.
And thank you, Jared.
I just want to say thank you as well. When I started on the council, the staff that was in place was recommending bankruptcy as an option. And so the fact that we're in compliance with the audit that they were working on, and we're doing our part to support the staff to make sure that these new audits for the upcoming year are going to be a little faster, if I recall you saying. I really appreciate that. And being in compliance is important when we're applying for grants, and it shows the dedication that you and your staff have committed over the last year. So I really appreciate that. I was a little scared that we were going to go bankrupt, because that's what the farm staff was really recommending. So now that we have a balanced budget and a small surplus, I'm glad. I'm looking forward to continuing to find investors in our opportunity zone, and making sure that we continue to grow. I do want to mention that, this is a conversation that I had with Tyler, even though that we are gonna have more new homes, it doesn't add as much tax revenue as people, wanna think it does. The county takes a lion's share of the tax that's collected on new homes. So yes, we are going to, generate some revenue that we are already accounted for, but it doesn't add as much as we like to think. And so if anybody has any questions on that, I just continue to reiterate that we're doing our best. We have a fully staffed, public safety department, fully staffed, public safety department.
Their backgrounds.
Yeah, so, but it's great to see that as well, as well as having the finance department, having the adequate tools, right, Tyler, making sure that we're streamlining all the processes. So even though there isn't a huge dollar amount in growth, the progress that we are seeing is the foundation for the success that we're gonna continue to see over the course of the next couple of years. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing some of the deferred maintenance projects continue to be, funded.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? No, I'm gonna open this up to the public. Anybody have a comment for 14.3?
Can we ask a question?
Just to make sure I understood correctly, you had mentioned that Parks and Recreation, it's subsidized by the general fund,
The recreation? Yes.
and the amount you said it was $850,000?
Yes.
So their budget of 1.7, whatever it was, million, 850,000 of that comes as a cost to the city, that it doesn't generate itself. That's a chunk of change. The second question I had was, when you also mentioned that you were anticipating revenue from housing that were being developed. Is that an anticipation, or is that money in the bank?
It's an anticipation of the 40 lots that are going to be developed for O'Hara. We've already received revenue on 8 of the lots in current fiscal
So
year.
it's 32, but we don't know whether we're hoping for the best.
We don't know if the second phase will make it in fiscal year 27. So we did not account for second phase for fiscal year 27 because we don't know how fast they'll move on phase 2.
And of those 32, what do you anticipate, it will happen? Let's say it didn't. What do you anticipate the loss of revenue will be? This fiscal year.
But that would be fiscal year 28 on
So,
the phase 2.
If I could just, chime in, so the way the fees are, collected is the builder, if they're building their homes, it's not based on whether they sell the homes, we collect the money up front as they're building the home, so, that's assuming that they will build that, and we have to get back to look at that line item as far as what.
Right, I understand that. And my question really was, let's say
Right, they don't build them.
they don't build them, let's say they build 8, and they say, we're done.
Yeah.
So what is the net loss to us? Because we're building this budget that we're gonna be balanced, predicated that you're gonna have those additional 13 homes. Now, if it's $100, not a big deal, right? But if it's $60,000, then that's a different story, or more. Is there some way we could, I mean, I'm sure you've thought this through already, you have an estimate. So if we could, that could be shared with us in the community, that'd be wonderful.
We're positive thinkers, man.
Yeah, me too. That's a glass half full. You know, sometimes it gets knocked over. So, what is it that Reagan said?
I think she's looking for.
Hope for the best, plan for the worst. The other question I had was, I'm a big user of the Wellness Center. Love it. But it's a little troublesome to me that amount is being subsidized by general fund. That's a huge amount, over 50% of it. Not even 50% of it being subsidized. And the anticipation is, rather than to continue because costs are raising, as you put a new deck in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, the costs are gonna continue to grow. And as those of us that say, hey, don't forget Kettle Park, we'd like to have grills. What is the strategy for short-term, mid-term, long-term, or it becomes self-sufficient, for it to be sustainable? I know you mentioned, let's give the school district an opportunity, let's do whatever, all the things we're doing, but $850,000 for a community the size of Lindsay is a lot of money.
I think she has your
Yeah,
answer.
people need to spend money here in Lindsay. And don't go to the gym anywhere else but Lindsay. I know a lot of Lindsay people go outside of Lindsay, but I mean, that's not gonna do the whole job. But
Yeah, so I don't know if any analysis has been, for example, I know that the wellness center, as an example, generates from, Medicare. It generates from Medi-Cal.
So if I may, it's a Parks and Recreation budget, which includes the wellness center, but it also includes maintenance of all our parks. So typically, cities do not generate enough revenue to maintain parks in and of themselves.
So we understand.
So that, a large portion of that is for the pool deck, restoration, so that's 600,000 that we're budgeting for, of that 800,000, so the margin is, general operations is over 200.
Right. So my question still is sustainability.
Yeah, she has your answer.
On the O'Hara lots, we have building permits of 228,000 and general plan review of 18,225.
So if it didn't happen, we lose 200,000.
250,000-ish.
Okay, well, that's just good to know. like,
Yeah,
I
it's a
don't know,
projection.
glass
It's
half
only a
full, blah, blah, blah.
projection.
But it should be said that, because it
Yeah.
might sound like, hey, we've got this revenue of money coming in, and we really don't. It's not like, we hope it's that.
Well, we're hoping.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, well,
Yeah.
thank you. Again, I realize that Parks and Recreation is much broader. But we are in agreement that probably the wellness center takes the lion's share, at least it looks like it. So again, I encourage, sustainability.
That's why there's no grills at Cactus Park.
What's that?
I hope that paints the picture why there's no grills at Cactus Park for you. I hope that paints the picture why there's no grills at Cactus Park.
Actually, it doesn't, because, actually, it doesn't, actually, it begs the question of how you're addressing.
Okay, your time is up. We
Yeah.
can chat over here.
Let's-
You and I, we can.
let's
we
move
can
on.
ask-
Do I have any more open public comment for 14.3?
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you, Soledad, for doing all this hard work. I know it was a lot of hard work. for you. Thank you for that, appreciate it. And that we're not bankrupt, and that we're still here, we're
Yeah.
still standing here, right?
Yeah.
So, thank you for that. The other thing, last time I was here, Soledad wasn't here that time, but, I questioned, the recommendations of the last audit that we had. I was just wondering if that was just something like, you know, oh, they just made these recommendations, or is it something that we're gonna do, update these recommendations? So, thank you. So if you're gonna do that, I would like to have an update. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Any more public comment for the 14.3? The time is closed. Do I have a motion for 14.3? I move with 14.3. I have a motion a motion from Nate, the second from Toya, all in favor?
Motion carries 4-0.
Moving on to 15 action items, 15.1. Thank you. Approval update job descriptions, position reclassifications and establishments for new positions, and this is submitted by Dario and presented by Carla.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Soledad mentioned, these updates. So again, this goes along, with the next couple of items go along with, the budget as well. So this is, first, we need to approve, new job descriptions. There's position reclassifications and actually establishment of new positions. Again, these will not be, we will not be adding headcount. This will just be, shifting. So there will be some promotions based on qualifications, based on certifications that people have received, training they've done, primarily with, our engineering technician, who has, received, a higher advancement and degree and has been taking on more and more duties. And so, keeping that in-house, and doing a lot of the work, and making that an associate engineer position. We also have, a need, as was mentioned earlier, for an administrative, secretary in city services, to be, more trained, have help with more of the day-to-day on the permit tech side as people are coming in for, permits for building code, those type of things to help, upskill those. So there's also that, as well as, I'm working with Parks and Recreation, just with expanded duties, with parks, coming under the Recreation Department that, wasn't, the case a year ago. And, just monitoring best practices, that there's also some, additional duties. This, we're not anticipating any additional costs, for these, but to have, new positions, and so calling them, from just recreation employees to be recreation leaders. And, you know, a title is something, but I think it also shows the value that we place in our employees, in giving them the leadership. And I guess sometimes, with that,
You have 1 more second.
I would, I move that you, or ask that you approve these, job descriptions, reclassifications, and positions.
I just want to So, for the associate engineer position, is the goal to eventually be able to, home grow somebody that can manage the water and sewer system?
Well, this would be a little different, so it wouldn't necessarily be on the utility operator, but I mean, we are definitely very interested in that too. But this would be, Dario's an engineer. It's not uncommon for city and counties to have in-house engineers. Typically, your own employees work at a lower rate, than the private contractors that we contract with for an engineering department. But there's also a lifestyle, that they get to benefit, where you don't have to always take work at home, where, often we are receiving emails, late at night, over the weekends from our contract engineers, but they're also getting paid very, very well to do that type of work. So, so that it's just a matter of keeping our costs down, but still maintaining and keeping, good quality employee in-house. For the long term. Yes, we do have an individual that's currently, filling the engineer tech position. Obviously, if this is approved, I think there would be a formal process, like any of the positions would be, that there would have to be an application and go through that formal process, but I would hope that, we would have internal candidates.
All right, that's public comment for 15.1. Any questions, concerns? Do I have a motion for 15.1?
The motion we approve, 15.1, approval of the job description.
I second.
I have a motion from Gloria, a second from Nate, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Moving on to 15.2, the update salary schedule for July 1st, 2026, and this is submitted by Solar Lab.
Sorry, I don't know where this stuff came from. The salary schedule is attached, it's our hourly, salary schedule. We included the reclassification of the positions. We removed one of the positions, and we added permit tech position. And everything else was kept status quo.
This is the second part of what was just approved, is to formalize the new salary.
Do you have any questions? I'll open it, for public comment for 15.2. Do I have a motion for 15.2?
The motion we approve, 15.2, that'll be the salary schedule.
Okay.
A motion from Gloria, a second from Nate, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Moving on to 15.3. Consider the adoption of resolution 26, 27, 26, 26, and 26, 27. This is submitted by. Take it over.
Well, I think I'll pinch it till Dario comes back, hoping he comes back, and everything's all right.
You guys started away.
If he's, well, I don't wanna call him out, but he's, if he looks like he's moving a little stiff, his back's, been bothering him quite a bit, today, so. Here he is, there we go.
Sorry, you're up.
Don't run, no.
Don't run.
Yeah, Tom.
No work makes time. For 15.3, take your time.
Mayor, Council, before you is, consider the approval of resolution 2625, ordering the preparation of a engineering report. Resolution 2626, given preliminary approval of the engineering report. And finally, resolution 2627, declaring its attention to Levi and collect assessments for fiscal year 2627. Little background, the city annually evaluates the maintenance needs and associated assessments for each of its landscape and lighting assessment districts in accordance with Article 4, Division 15 of the California Streets and Highway Code, known as the Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972. The assessment process consists of several steps here outlined in the agenda. Step 1, we need an engineer's report. Each year, the city council orders to prepare the engineer's report for each landscape and lighting district for the upcoming fiscal year. The report evaluates maintenance requirements of each district and establishes the proposed assessments necessary to find those services. Step 2 is the preliminary engineer's report review. The report provides a summary of the adopted budget of the current fiscal year, actual expenditures through the end of May, projected expenditures for the remainder of the current fiscal year, estimated maintenance and administration costs for the upcoming fiscal year, and recommended assessments necessary to fund district operations. And step 3, that's the declaration of the intention of public hearing. Upon acceptance of the public engineering report, the city council will declare its intention to Levi and collect assessment for fiscal year 2627 and set a public hearing date. Following council action, all property owners within the respective districts will be notified of the proposed assessment and the scheduled public hearing. And finally, step 4, the actual public hearing. At the public hearing, city council will receive public comments and protests regarding the proposed assessments. Following consideration of all testimony, the council may adopt a resolution ordering the continued maintenance of the landscape and lighting assessment districts and confirming the engineer's report and assessments for fiscal year 2627. The city of Lindsay currently maintains 8 landscape and lighting assessment districts. Those are Sierra View, Heritage Park, Parkside Estates, Briar Plaza at Sonora, Briar Plaza at Hermosa, Sierra Vista Assessment, Maple Valley, and Pelos Ranch. Once approved by city council, the assessments are paid from property tax bills of identified properties as special assessments and are collected by county planner. Therefore, staff respectfully recommends that the city council accepts the engineer's report for each landscape and lighting assessment district, adopt the 3 proposed resolutions, initiating the actual annual proceedings, let's say public hearing for July 28th, 2026. On the bottom of page 2 of our staff report, we have a summary of the fund recommendations. On page 3, I'll quickly kind of go down mention, the 8 districts. Out of the 8, I want to say up front, Sierra View and Pelos Ranch, they are on a deficit, essentially because of the assessment that's pretty old, aged, and things have changed over the year. So, as a timing issue, we're going to go ahead and proceed with this, but essentially, we'd like to recommend that at some point near that we develop a comprehensive study that can offset these numbers and make them a positive. So, but overall, it doesn't look bad. It's only 48. So I'll go quickly down the list here. So Sierra View states the district currently has a deficit of almost $5,800. Maintaining the assessment at the maximum allowed rate will fund annual maintenance costs and will cover approximately $1,000 of the existing deficit. The district is projected to end the year with a deficit balance of almost 4,800. Heritage Park District, the district currently has a surplus balance of 14,400. Surplus funds will be utilized to fund a $5,000 capital improvements budget for tree trimming. The district is projected to end a multi-surplus fund of almost $9,100. Parkside Estates, the district currently has a surplus fund balance of 3,933. The proposed budget includes a 2,500 CIP project for tree trimming. And as a result, the project, the district is projected to end with a surplus of 3,900. Streetbriar Plaza at Samoa, the district currently has a surplus balance of 9,145. The proposed budget includes a 2,500 capital improvement project for tree trimming. The district is projected to end with a surplus balance of 9,145. Streetbriar Aragosa, Assessment District, the district currently has a deficit fund of almost 2,900. Maintaining the assessment at the current rate will fund annual maintenance costs, eliminate the existing deficit, and provide 2,500 capital improvement project for tree trimming. The project will have the district will have a surplus fund of almost 2,200 at the end of the year. Sierra Vista district currently has a deficit of $1,800. A rate adjustment proposes to recover the existing deficit and to restore district to a positive fund balance. The proposed budget also includes a $12,250 capital project that we can start accumulating for future weed abatement and stone drain funding rating costs. The district is projected to be also at a surplus of 1,300 feet. The last Maple Valley, the district currently has a surplus balance of 4,083. Existing reserves funds are being utilized to support ongoing operating expenses. We recommend that we continue to monitor the district financial condition to ensure sustainability. The district is projected to end with a surplus of almost 3,100. And finally, Palos Ranch, the district currently has a deficit of almost $4,800. Existing assessment revenues are insufficient to cover ongoing maintenance and operation costs. A future assessment increase will be necessary to address continuing deficits and restore district's financial stability. The district is projected to end with a deficit of $8,100. Again, in summary, for the most part, we're doing okay. It's just those districts that at some point will need some sort of a comprehensive study to be performed. Together, fiscal impact of all the districts equates to about $100,000. No, we're available for question. But at the end, we actually have the, I apologize, it's hard to read, but at the end, we have an actual summary of the reports, district by district. If you focus yourself at the middle of the page, where you have utilities and you have, water and irrigation usage, the lighting, and irrigation usage are all there. Break it down by, how much we budgeted, how much we spent, and the projected for the 26-27. Also, we do have a contract, maintenance for the district, for each district. So essentially, those three numbers is what has big, the total budget for every district. I'm available for questions if you guys wanna.
I have one.
Sure.
On the, I'm not too familiar with all the district names, like where they're at, like, but on Orange Avenue, which one's that one? Orange Avenue,
Sierra Vista.
Sierra Vista, and is it just the roundabout area that's landscaped, or is it
It's the roundabout all the way.
all the way down? Okay.
Remember that's the one that the contractor was supposed to do it and then it did.
Sure.
It looks really good, like a desert.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
for the cost, I mean, we don't,
But the people,
the homeowners deserve to know how it's separated, how much the electrical part is and how much the landscaping is. And how are we doing bids for the landscaping? Is it local people? Do local people even know that they're able to bid? Or are these large contractors that just say, all right, it's a city job, we're gonna just like go out there and bid high?
Yeah, so, again, the the irrigation lighting and water usage, it's all outlined right here, I like in the middle of the page, which says utilities. And then to answer your question, because of the dollar amount, we're not required to formal, bid the work, but we're required to obtain three, bids from companies and we'll go there.
Okay, so this seems really high.
You gotta remember, these assessments are, this was actually not that old, but it's 2007 at that time. So it's almost 20-year-old
Yeah,
assessment.
but there was a lot of things going in 2007 here at the city. So
Right.
if they could be put out to bid and reach out to local landscapers,
Absolutely.
because
I don't know,
that's
right.
crazy amount.
I don't know what that's been in the past, but that's the formality is to
Yeah,
send out the packaging, obtain your three informal bids. We don't do bid opening in public, but we do
Yeah.
for the record, it's on emails or with formal correspondence.
And do the community members that live in these district areas, do they get that breakdown? So like.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Oh, yeah. For the public here.
yes, okay, thank you. Any more questions?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
So we did meet, last week to discuss, that we thought it was time to get these out again, so, we're in the process of evaluating that and looking to do that, over the next couple of months, so, we talked about other options and other areas that we might be looking at multiple options and bringing that back to council. That's something that, we're just, discussing last week.
Thank you. Do I have a public comment for 15 minutes?
So there was a couple of questions about, and I already kind of have an answer, but when the houses were built, some houses were designed with concrete walls, and some ended up with wood fences. So that's something that is not included in this, right? And it falls on the developer slash builder of the home, correct? Right. We want to make sure people understand that we're not responsible for the final, construction of, their property, so it's not part of the special district. So,
Oh, like they expect the fences to be repaired? Is that what you're saying?
there was a few homeowners in the Arcette Estates that originally were promised stone fences, and they're on the house, on the edges, right?
Oh, they wanted to, okay.
And but they ended up with wood fences, and so they're blaming the city, and again, the city's not the builder, so. I try to explain that, but.
Yeah, block walls are very familiar, but like a frontage and the sides, nothing in between.
Well, we have the outside budget, again, it's not our responsibility, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So do I have a public comment for 15.3? No? Public comment is closed. Do I have a motion for 15.3?
A motion to approve 15.3.
Second.
I have a motion by Nate, a motion for Claudia, second by Nate, all in favor? Aye.
It carries 4-0. And we will, at the next meeting, we will see this for the actual, public hearing, so this is just setting the date and then we'll be back again.
But you are gonna start the process of bidding and doing all that stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, I just need approval. And
Yeah.
forward
Okay.
with the-
Well, you're up again, right here, 15.4. Your pocket is nice.
Or next meeting. Okay. Yeah, the next was awarding the contract for the road improvement project. Staff's recommending, council to adopt resolution 2628, awarding the contract for the road improvement project, to American Paving Company. In the amount of, $5,321,719, and provide a $798,260, approximately 15% contingency to deal with any unforeseen
issues or circumstances, that might arise during construction. With a total of, $6,119,979, dollars. Staff further recommends that the staff further recommends that city manager and our designee be authorized to execute the agreements. Which are being, just a little background, on June twelfth, we had a public bid opening that was held, and 7 bid proposals were received and publicly opened. The top 3 responsible bidders and the corresponding bid results are listed here below, with American Paving at 5.3 million, Addison Construction, 5.65 million, and Walsh Montgomery Construction at almost 6.1 million. The engineer's estimate for project construction cost was approximately 6.5 million. Funding for the project is available through a combination of funding sources, budget for this purpose, such as Measure R, SB1, STP, LTF, gas tax. Staff reviewed the bid proposals that were submitted and determined that American Paving proposed the lowest responsive and responsible bid. It is the opinion of staff, the bid should be accepted and have notice of award issued. The project consists of, I don't know if I should go mention every word again, let me just. The proposed project improvements are in 3 locations throughout the city, including but not limited to curb, gutter, sidewalk, stone drain, stone infrastructure, paving, signage, striping, ADA improvements. The improvement will help preserve and enhance the city's transportation infrastructure and provide long-term benefits to the community. The area works primarily on the west side of the city, close to Jefferson, School Jefferson there. But here are the following streets: Fresno Street between Highway 65 and Westwood, Westwood Avenue between Hermosa and Tulare, Van Ness between Hermosa and Mariposa Central, between Hermosa and Mariposa, Eastwood Avenue between Kern and Mariposa, Durham Lane, west of Westwood, Kern Street between Westwood Avenue and Eastwood Avenue, Samoa Street between Olive and Mount Vernon, and finally Ashland, Ashland Avenue between Aquia Street and Hermosa. And that's it. I have a little for any questions.
Thank you for your questions. I'm just happy that these community members are getting, they deserve these roads.
Are they gonna, start, like, as soon as we approve it?
So tonight the intent is to approve this, contract, sign tonight, hopefully. Meeting with us tomorrow in the morning, and then we'll have an executed contract. We are meeting early next week at a pre-construction meeting, and they'll do their, mobilization, and hopefully the next 2 weeks will start.
Nice.
Are there any issues with like the weather and it being so hot, like super hot?
That's perfect.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, and so again, the idea is.
So you're not out there.
Actually, I'm not out there, but it just means like sometimes it's like, oh, it's too cold, or it's too hot, or.
Yeah.
It's
Perfect.
There's rain
Now.
now.
Yeah, they have to do it.
That's why I'm asking, cause
And
first day of school is August 10th.
perfect, okay.
Just a heads
So,
up.
exactly, I mean, I've sent out a calendar invite to meet with the school district, the chief, because there's gonna be, I mean, everybody's involved. And I wanna make sure that everybody knows, and that we're, putting door hangers, we're sending out mailers, so that everybody's aware of this huge project coming ahead of us. And that we finish it in a timely manner, and hopefully people are understand. It isn't time, but it's just
Got
a
it.
huge project.
Yeah, I have a question as well. On the contingency, what's the rule of thumb on that?
So rule time for me to make sure that they were pushing to that, but things happen, and if it does, then I have no control there. So we'll
Yeah,
have to
but
push into that.
Is it a percentage?
It's 15%.
15%?
Yeah, sometimes it goes up to 20, if not 15 is fine.
Okay. Yeah, 15.
Yeah, just happy because, I mean, the lowest bidder came out 5.3, we estimated 6.5, so we were struggling with budget and stuff, and we were able to manage, so.
Thank you. Do I have any public comment for 15.4? The comments closed. Do I have a motion for 15.4?
A motion to approve 15.4.
I second.
A motion from Claudia, a second from Dave, all in favor? Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you. Call them in the morning. No, call them tonight.
We're ready.
Ready.
Moving on to request for future items. Does any council have any requests for future items or staff?
You're gonna let us know about the meeting?
Yes, we will discuss the staff meeting tomorrow, but, I think more than likely with what we will need to move around a few things. I think, making sure that, that we can get well 11 on the docket, as well as, the CFD, formulation. There's a few public hearings, we set one public hearing, so we'll need to make sure and notice that appropriately for, lighting and landscape districts, but assuming all that will be in a row, we do it a week earlier, so on the 21st.
Okay.
So the third Tuesday,
Mhm.
of the month, rather than the 20th.
Any other-
So there was some interest in having, an opportunity for high school, maybe possibly middle school students, kind of job shadow some of us, our responsibilities, and then some of the department heads. I know in the past, we've had, students invited from, the continuation school and adult ed, which I appreciate and I love. And I hope that we continue to invite them, and maybe they can be part of this program too, but something, like a Lindsay Young Leaders, where, we meet with them once a month, they meet with a council member, mayor pro tem, or department head, once a month throughout following the school year, similar to the Farm Bureau that does those meetings. Just so that, again, we're investing in our youth, we're letting them know that there's opportunities for them to be leaders. I know last year we had, at the beginning of the school year, last year, there was a representative that would come here and there. I don't remember her name, but I think it'd be nice if we could codify that, and, I'm willing to help as well, so, I don't know if you guys need more input. I know there's other cities that do this, so.
Yeah, I know some of the staff and I were actually just talking about internships, earlier today. So I know we're interested, if you guys have a contact with the school district who would specifically like to do that. Yeah, I'm sure you do. We would be very interested. I think there's a lot of opportunities to integrate, some of our young people into operations, as well as just give them a flavor and taste of what goes on with our city and with local governments in general. So there's a lot of job opportunities as they get ready to go into career field, so we'd be happy to do that.
Awesome. Thank you. I think it's a great idea. Hopefully we'll have no more requests. You guys, everybody have a good evening. Good evening, adjourned.